Hey everybody, this is adamslivertrade, and instead of posting a tweet for the flow today, I thought it would be a good idea to go through the flow on a video. I know all of you have been excited for some YouTube content. I've gotten countless requests for it, and I think that this could be a great way for me to be more interactive with all of you. Um, and I think the flow is something that can very much use some time to break down. So if somebody breaks it down for you, it makes it a little bit more understandable. And we all know that there's a lot of information on unusual whales, and it can never hurt to have multiple different opinions on certain data points. So this is why I'm here. I'm here to explain what I'm seeing. So if you're looking at my watch list for tomorrow, it has Twitter 46 calls over 45.05. Twitter 43 puts under 43.90. So, what do I think about Twitter here? Why? Why Twitter? First off, I really like the chart. Um, I think that Twitter has a great potential to go up or down. Either way, I don't really care because I'll take calls and I'll take puts. Doesn't matter. What I'm watching is this trend line retest here. Saw a nice little breakout on high volume, and then we see uh, move up here, pulls back down, and honestly, it's the same exact levels as yesterday. I think yesterday I used 45, and then today I'm going with 45.05 just to catch some more up here. But that's what I like about this chart wise. Okay, I go into the flow. So I say 46C. Okay, what I like about this is there's a lot of volume here. You'll see there's a lot of volume on 46, 47, 48. These get really, really cheap. Okay. What I like about Twitter is that the spreads are small. Sure, it's 3 cents. I mean, it's going to tighten during the day. So ideally, I'd look for something when it gets to 0.26 bid, and then the ask is 0.27, and it gets a lot thinner. That's when I would consider uh, buying the ask. But you know, this is just an overview for now based on where it closed. But I'm going to take a look at this chart. I know that Twitter had a lot of action on these 46, 47s, 48s. Okay, why? Well, Twitter did hit 46.40 basically this morning, so it makes sense that there would be some out of the money action. And the first thing I'm always thinking is, okay, does it make sense that these would be here? Um, well, yeah, it does make sense because it got faked out. But still, there's a lot of money in this. And you can see these 44 puts actually crept up there with a lot of action, as well as the 42 puts. So to me, that's very interesting. I'm looking at the weekly, and I care a lot about the weekly calls and puts, because that shows urgency. These are people who are betting on something that happens in 3 days, right? There's only 3 days left on these contracts. So I'm noticing this 45, which is actually meager, 45, 46, 47, and 48. And that's a lot of volume. And additionally, there's a lot of OI. So I'm generally valuing the volume more, just in my personal opinion, because it shows that there was urgency. I mean, this was today, so um, people making out of the money bets, and also people making out of the money bets on puts. I mean, 42 puts, 44 puts. So to me, this speaks volumes about Twitter, because say I go to flow history, um, I look here and I say, okay, I mean, there's very consistent volume on both calls and puts, which I like. And then I'm going to take a look at my strikes of choice, and the 46, had a great deal of volume. I think this is a good price. OI is strong. I like it. And if my trigger is going to be over 45, I want to go at least a little bit out of the money. So I think 46 is perfect. And then 47 would just probably be a little too far for me. So then I go 43, kind of the same exact thought process. Under 43.90, um, I think 42 would probably be a little far. Yeah, you would see these puts are pretty dirt cheap, but so are these. Still have great gain potential. So I like that. The next one that I'm going to talk about, now that I kind of took you through a greater overview for the very first one. I'm going to go through PayPal. So what am I seeing on PayPal? Initially, I will just take a look at the daily and I'll say, wow, okay, there was this consolidation, these trends here, this downtrend, and then boom, okay, this breakout. This looks really nice. Well, was there anything unusual? Wow, okay, this right here just sticks out. I mean, that's $9 out of the money on a contract that has 3 days left. So to me, that's alarming, but in a good way. Same thing here. Pretty good spreads, really good spreads here on the bid to ask. Not a problem. 195 is a good amount out of the money. So I think this puts PayPal in a really good position, just volume wise, on the options. And you'll see it only got up to 120, 192.75. So you know these people were placing straight up bets. It's not like it went up there and faked them out. I'll scroll down even more, and you'll see tons of volume here, just tons. A lot of OI on the 200s as well. A lot of OI across the board here. So especially this is what sticks out to me the most, the 200s. So I went with 197.5 calls over 192.0 or zero point 0.8, and then 185 puts under 188.8. Next one on my list is Sofi. So what I think about Sofi is it seems to be a similar theme where we have a downtrend, we have a breakout candle on the daily. Just seems to be what happened a lot today, obviously because the markets were up very aggressively today. So first thing I'm thinking, okay, cool, this could go either way. We could jump up or we could jump down back into this trend, or we could just continue to break out, maybe get to 1750, who knows. What am I looking for on SoFi? Well, I'm seeing a lot of January 20 calls, which is a good sign. And but I care about the urgent move, right? Okay, where's the urgent move? Well, I see a lot of 17 calls for Friday, and you know those are basically in the money at my trigger. So if my trigger is 16.19 for calls, 16.30 for puts, there's still 3 days left on these contracts, so I'm fine going with the 17.5 call. And the reason for that is, they're on here, they're cheaper, but I'm thinking in my head, I'm saying, okay, once SoFi gets up 30 cents, the 17s are at the money, basically. So feel free to take those. But for me personally, I like the risk to reward on the 17.5s because I think this move up here to 17.40 comes pretty smoothly. Same thing to the downside, but a little bit easier. I would go with 16 puts under 16.30 just because I wouldn't want to take 15.5s because that's a rather large move. That's an additional 80 cents from the trigger, which would be far too much in my opinion. So 16 puts there, and then 17 and a half calls, or you could go with 17 if that makes you more comfortable. Fourth pick for tomorrow is TTD, and this one is very intriguing to me because, again, same exact theme. Daily, just huge gap up, and I'm really just using close to the high and low of day for the ranges, but I scrolled back a good amount to get these levels more precise a little bit and get them more matched up. So I'm not using exactly high and low of day, but I got more agreement over time on these levels. So, and what do I like about this? Okay, 97.25 call trigger, 94.2 put trigger. What do I like about it with the flow? Okay, first thing I'm noticing, boom, lots of volume on the 100C. Well, does it make sense? Well, we got up to 97.5. It's not like we went up to 100 and then knifed down. So this is people who are taking a bet for the rest of the week. That's how I look at this. I'm saying, okay, if the move is it was just a solid uptrend, solid move to the upside, but it basically stayed in a range kind of the whole day, this $3 range. I'm saying these are people placing bets. They really think this thing is going to continue to move. It's not past past bets. So, I mean, you can even see the 101s are high up here. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to actually move this out to 50 just so that we can see more here. You see the 100 calls had a ton of volume. TTD doesn't get that much volume, so it would be nice to stick with something that is a round number. Generally, they offer dollar increment strikes, but I like the hundreds. And then for puts, I like the 92s, and that's just because I think the volume is fine. I mean, it's acceptable. I don't want to go all the way down to 100 because I just don't. I under 94 or 90. Sorry, I don't want to go all the way down to 90. Just I think 92 presents the best risk to reward. A little bit less than $3 away would be 100, and then a little bit over $2 away. I like the ranges there on those strikes. And lastly, with Mara. So we saw a lot of action on the 50 calls today, and that's a normal thing for Mara to get attention on super out of the money strikes. I mean, this is a popularly traded one, and people like to take out of the money bets on it. So, and the thing is, it can get there. So, not blaming anybody who's taking that. I mean, after all, it was there on the second, but you can see this thing has a crazy range, right? 42.50 to 47. I mean, that's a huge move, basically, from close $4 move today. So Mara has a ton of range, even though it's only a $50 stock. Could totally go 10% again tomorrow if it wanted to. So my take is I'm going with 47.10 for calls. It's over this high day. Matches here. Good stuff. I like this 40 or 44.80 level too, but I wanted to push it out a little bit more just because of the volatility. I wanted to be more certain of the downside move. Don't want to get faked out. So I went with 44.10. So, those are my triggers. Now, what am I thinking about the flow? Okay, there's obviously a good amount of interest on the 45s, 46s, 48s. I mean, these are all weeklies, 47s, these are all weeklies. All the weeklies are getting a ton of hits. So for me, I'm thinking Mara is a pretty high implied volatility play. I think the IV on all of these is probably over 100 and 100%. And so something like that, picture lucid, right? If you're going to buy an at the money call, a few dollars out of the money isn't really going to be that much cheaper just because implied volatility means that everything is just more expensive because they have to price in a big move. So I'm more inclined to go slightly closer to at the money on a play like Mara. So I'm thinking, let me go to flow history. Where did all of my different strikes, where did they all close? So I'm thinking over 47.10. Let me see. Okay, could think 48. Good volume, fair price. How much different do we get if we go to 49? 62, 68. It makes me think, okay, I think I like this better because we can get in the money really quick, and it can move a ton. So, and then under 44.10, I am thinking along the lines, the same lines. Want to keep it fairly close at the money, and I'm thinking here. I'm thinking, okay, 79 bid, 85 ask. Um, I like the I like the 43 puts. I'll take a look at the 42s just to see. And I mean, there's decent volume on these. You could go a little bit more out of the money. You might get a good return on them, but um, just for my personal preference, I'm gonna tend to go a little bit closer to the money. So I'm gonna go back to see today's breakdown and just kind of an overview. The flow can be taken in so many different ways. And for me, I'm really just looking for action. I'm just looking for volume. I mean, because keep in mind, this volume can be both buying and selling volume. That can be, I buy one, I sell to close, right? That's two volume. And then, or I am shorting or selling the contract and then covering, that's also volume, even on the calls. So You can't look at this and say, oh, wow, these are just people buying out of the money calls. I'm sure some people are shorting this, but what all I care about is that there's money at stake here. People care about the outcome of of this stock, and you can almost look at these strike prices as levels of 50 is going to be a key level. That's where I speak to the term magnet. I think if I see something that has a pretty far out of the money move, my favorite example for today is actually TTD. I see these 100 weeklies, ton of volume comparatively to everything else, and I say, TTD didn't quite get to 100 today, and look, these are cheap, cheap, cheap. And TTD was up here at about, 112 112 just last week, right? The week before, yeah, exact same. So this thing can really move if it wants to. And these are people placing realistic bets, uh, you know, I would think, on the fact that TTD can go up and it can make a serious move. So best of luck to everybody tomorrow. Hope you enjoy this video, and let me know what you like, what you don't like, and feel free to give me pointers for next time. Thanks.